Hi guys, I'm Katie and welcome back to Girls Gone Legal.
Please be advised we are speaking in our own individual capacities and not representing any companies we may work for.
We are not your lawyers, and any information given during this podcast does not constitute as legal advice and is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Enjoy the episode. Hello guys, thank you for tuning in today. Today we have an amazing guest coming on with us today. I'm very excited, but we'll get right into it. You guys know the drill. I'll tell you a little bit about our guest and then we'll hop right into the episode. Super fun. So today we have Alyssa Ferreone here. She is a New York City-based lawyer and model and content creator. She's redefining what it means to have it all. By day, she's a construction litigation attorney where she represents clients in complex commercial disputes. Alongside her legal career, Alyssa has built a personal brand centered around the idea that women don't have to choose between ambition and fun. She's the author of Gloss Briefing, a newsletter exploring confidence, self-trust, and building life on your own terms by sharing an unfiltered view of how she balances her career in law with the commercial modeling and content creation. Alyssa offers an honest look at ambition, identity, and modern womanhood, proving that you don't have to choose between just one version of yourself. Welcome, Alyssa. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So excited.
No, I'm very excited. I feel like you are such like a perfect person to come on this podcast because it's exactly what we tried to do with Girls Gone Legal. We realized that there definitely is this gap between like in law school, fresh lawyers, but it's like I'm like more than that. There's like so much more to me than just like a law student or like a lawyer. So
no, literally. And I love what you guys are doing with this podcast because women do contain multitudes and like every version of yourself deserves the airtime. So I actually really admire your podcast. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Well, we're so excited to hear from you. I mean, we'll start off with like the basic question. I think our audience would love to hear just a little bit about you, what you do, and kind of like what inspired you to get into what your life is right now.
Sure. Well, I actually kind of fell into becoming a lawyer. It was never really my dream. And I have found myself here through a random occurrence that has just been what is life in your 20s. So basically growing up, my dream job was actually to be a broadcast journalist. Okay. I wanted to be like an anchor woman on the news back when the news was different than it is now. But this was like in the 2000s. The news was so glamorous, I thought. And like every 2000s rom-com, the main character was a journalist. And I was like, period, like I'm going to be a journalist. Like I get her, like she's me, I am her. Yeah. So I was a broadcasting major in college actually. And throughout college, I, was taking classes learning about like camera setup, gripping. And I was like, I don't think I'm quite like in the correct space here. Like, I don't think I'm vibing. I don't think I'm resonating. But so many of my anchor women icons of the time were also lawyers, like Savannah Guthrie and so many others. So I was like, you know what, let me like grab a legal studies class and maybe see if that scratches the itch that I think I'm missing from this coursework. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, I was like pretty much hooked from my first legal studies class. I ended up changing my major and I just kind of found myself on the fast track to law school at that point. And then I went to Quinnipiac University School of Law, graduated in 2020 in the peak of the pandemic, May 2020. Oh God. Studied for the bar exam, took the bar exam, and then I clerked for the Connecticut Appellate Court for 1 year. And then I have been a civil litigator since then. So now I'm in my 6th year of practice. Wow. And I love being a lawyer. And that's kind of how I became an attorney.
Yeah. Funny enough, mine was like my path was very similar. I was an actor first and then realized mine was kind of because of COVID. It was like, oh, there's nothing happening. I need to do more. I need to go to school, I guess. And then I literally just kind of took one class similar to you and fell into, I kind of like the law. So it's for the girls. If you get it, you get it.
If you get it, you get it. That's so cool.
No, that's amazing. And when did the modeling side of your career kind of enter your life?
Yeah, so I would say like modeling has always been a part of my life, but lawyering and modeling did not always happen concurrently. They kind of happened consecutively first. So when I was a child, I was in glitz beauty pageants and modeling. I was signed to an agency from the time I was 8 to 11. Oh, wow. So yeah, like one thing about me, I've always had a job. Like, like she's going to work. Busy. Like she's going to hustle. She's going to have a job even though you're 8. Yeah. So me and my sister were signed to an agency and I loved modeling when I was a kid. Like for many reasons, but one of them would be like my mom would like take us out of school. We would come to New York City and like go on go-sees or castings or we're walking in shows and stuff. Right. And I just thought it was so fun, so glamorous. Like that was my dream job, to be a model. And then unfortunately, like the puberty of it all.
Life.
And like you're not cute your whole life sometimes. Like sometimes you have to take a break. So that was like puberty. No one needed to see that. Yeah. And actually, thank God it's not highly documented. So that happened. And then when you're around 12, 13, you're in middle school and you're just like, okay, I want to hang out with my school friends and do cheerleading and do other things. So modeling kind of happened first. Then I got sidetracked with real life, you know, going to school. I was a cheerleader all growing up through college, law school. And then it kind of re-entered my life after I passed the bar exam. I kind of had this moment where I got my results that I passed, and I was so relieved, happy, excited for 20 to 25 minutes, calling everyone I know, my parents, like, I'm so excited I passed, blah, blah, blah. Then I was just like, okay.
Now what?
Now I just have to show up to work as a lawyer every day for the next 60 years. So what was supposed to be a very joyous day and a very, you know, I'm very proud of myself that I became an attorney, and it's something that I take great pride in. But there was a moment where I was like, oh, this is not fulfilling whatever void is inside me.
Right.
This does not change how I feel about myself, and that I'm still not quite certain what my purpose is. So when I moved to New York, that kind of prompted me to burn my life as I knew it to the ground and move to New York City, which I did. And when I moved to the city, I started making content on TikTok. And then from there, I kind of started working, you know, with more brands. Like I would share, you know, and at first my content was so stupid, like for lack of a better word. It was just like not relating to anyone. It had no purpose. It had like no connection with my audience. But I was like, blush I love. And then, like,
It's like everyone does. That's
yeah,
like
that's
go-to.
Yeah, it's like, let me just like show everybody the makeup I'm using that they're also already using.
So I was influenced you by this. Now let me influence you.
Right. So it's like I was there. But what happened from that was some beauty brands started reaching out, and I started getting like, you know, small brand deals on TikTok where I was like, oh, maybe I can just get back to modeling now. So I just took some digital, submitted to modeling agencies, and then I got signed a few months later to my agency that I'm now with, Tandem. So, and then now it's really the first time that I'm doing both together and feeling like, okay, yeah, now I'm hitting stride, and I'm feeling like I'm satisfied creatively. I'm satisfied in the sense that I feel proud of my career, my accomplishments, and I can support myself and take care of myself. And all of this is working together in a way that's really exciting and fulfilling. So that's how they've worked together and where we're at.
Yeah. No, 100%. Did you ever feel like, I mean, during that transition period when you kind of finished the bar exam, and I feel like that's something, thank you for saying that, because I feel like it's a thought that a lot of people think of, but maybe don't feel like they can say, because you go to law school and you're told by everyone around you, like, you go to law school, you write the bar exam, you be a lawyer. And that's like the structure you're supposed to follow. But like 100%, I already know, like, I'm going to feel very similar feelings of like, okay, now what? And I think we're similar in the sense of like, we always have something going on. So then when that's over, it's like, well, the last 3 years and the last at least 3 months of bar prep was so much of my priority that once it's over and you succeeded, and you feel like now you're trying to fill that gap. So when you were going through that, did you ever feel the pressure of like, I have to choose one path over the other? Like, I have to go full blown lawyer, or I have to stop it and go just into like the modeling content creation?
Yes. And I think a big part of it was feeling like something was wrong with me almost, if that makes sense. I worked so hard to become a lawyer. I went to school for 7 years. And like objectively on paper, my life at this point looked perfect by normal societal standards, where it's like, okay, I just graduated from college and law school, and I'm with, you know, my college sweetheart who I dated for 8 years, and we live in Stamford, Connecticut in this picturesque, you know, development, and I have a great job, and I'm making 6 figures at 24, and I'm feeling so great about myself.
Yeah.
And I did everything that everybody expected me to do to a T. And I remember people being like, oh my God, like you've achieved the dream. And how insufferable am I to be like, and I'm not happy, and none of this is making me feel good about myself. So there was pressure in the sense that's like, okay, am I just an angry who can't be happy ever in my life? Like, I just did all of these cool things that, you know, many people work hard to accomplish, and now I'm just not grateful that I like did all of this. So I think that was one side of the pressure.
Right.
The other side of the pressure, of course, was, you know, being misaligned is so exhausting. So it's like, to myself, like I'm betraying myself because I know I'm not doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to be doing it.
Right.
So it was really it was really balancing those two conflicts of, I'm supposed to be happy with being a lawyer, and this was my goal, and I achieved it. And also there's this huge part of myself that I'm forgetting about and leaving to the wayside. And I always wanted to move to New York City, and modeling, yes, I always wanted to model, but like there was a point in time where I was like, okay, by the time you're 25, that's probably over. Like, you know, and certainly in the 2000s, people weren't like getting into modeling in their late 20s.
Right.
So I do think like as a society, we've come far as who can be a model, and, you know, when you can join in on that. But there was the New York of it all was even bigger because it's like, okay, that was always something I wanted to do. And now I'm just not going to do that because I found myself in this extremely like heteronormative situation where I'm like living with my long-term boyfriend at 24 years old and we live in the suburbs.
Right.
So yeah, it was a risk. And a lot of people I think felt like, what is Alyssa doing? She is going off the rails,
Yeah.
like breaking up with her long-term partner who she loves and
Yeah.
ruining her life.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm very happy I stayed true to myself because honestly, at the end of that transitionary period where I've now created this multifaceted life where I am acting in total alignment with what brings me joy, I've never felt better. I've never felt more sure, and I've never felt like I know myself really well. So
I mean, that's amazing to hear because I think for a lot of people, like that quote unquote like stability, that first kind of picture perfect life you explained is what people strive towards. But for others, like you need to feel ultimately fulfilled at the end of the day. Like you need to make sure like every part of your life is fulfilling you to the fullest. And I think sometimes people just don't understand that. And it's hard to take, like, that's a big change. Like uprooting your life and be like, all right, I'm leaving, I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
That's like something that is hard to do. And I think it's something that a lot of people want to do, but don't because of the fear of like, that's not what I'm supposed to do. So you're a great example of it does work out. Like you can do it. And hearing that you're happy with the decision you made and those big jumps is great to hear.
thank you.
Okay, so I guess let's going back into kind of like what your life looks like. How does it feel doing this like balance between this creative lifestyle and like the modeling side, the social media, but still being a legal professional? And how is that impacting like how you operate at work, how people look at you? Do you feel like there is that like I'm in two different worlds, or do you think it's kind of like a smooth combination?
It feels fucking awesome. Can I swear on your
Yeah, you can
podcast?
swear.
It feels fucking awesome. It feels fucking awesome. It feels exciting. I think that there is a level of insane busyness to me that is exciting and electric and fun. Is it always smooth? No. It takes a lot of prioritizing, like what is my true priority here? Is it being a lawyer or is it being a model or is it this third secretive thing of being both that I'm still navigating?
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question, it feels good because I feel like I'm really building something unique. And, you know, when the road kind of disappears in front of you where you're like, I don't really know where to go from here because I'm the only one I know walking this road. Like I'm the only one I know doing this. So it feels exciting and the adrenaline rush of like, you really don't know what's going to happen next. And a lot of that excitement and self-trust comes from making that big jump all the, 3 or 4 years ago and having it. And when it works out one time, you're like, okay, now next time I know I can trust myself again and it will work out one way or another.
Yeah. I know 100%. Yeah. Do you feel like specifically in the legal world, like when it doesn't feel like it's smooth sailing and there obviously is that little bit of friction, do you feel kind of underestimated as, on both sides, underestimated as a lawyer, underestimated as a model? Like, do you feel like people are looking at you a certain way?
Yes, I think it's more so just in the legal profession. I don't know that all of my opposing counsel and judges obviously don't know that I'm a model.
Right.
I think that's just the genuine underestimation of women in general.
Yeah.
I certainly have walked into a deposition ready to take a dep and have been said, oh, great, the court reporter's here. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm the lawyer.
Right.
So there's been a lot of that in my career. And I think also when you are, not to sit here and be like, I'm so beautiful. But when you're a conventionally attractive woman in a male-dominated field, there's always that implicit bias of you're just a pretty face. You can't be both beautiful and smart. You can't be someone who looks this way and perform this way in a courtroom. So I try to use the underestimation to my advantage and just, that's why being over-prepared. And I do find that like women in our profession are always more prepared than the men because they're waiting for us to slip up. They're waiting for us to not know the facts or the law. So yeah, I think it's more general than being underestimated as a model. It would be just as a woman. We're always underestimated in the legal profession. And then I think in the modeling world, I do always bring up that I'm a lawyer because I think it's a great networking, honestly.
100%.
Like sometimes I'm on set and you just never know who you're going to meet. Like one time I was on a shoot for a architecture firm and they had like just renovated this Brooklyn apartment complex. So we were like, shooting in their lifestyle spaces. And I was like, this is such a great connection for me to make. I gave them my card because they, they unfortunately get in litigation from time to time. And, who knows, maybe they'll call me. So it's kind of just owning that you are multifaceted has only brought me more joy and more connection. So I see it as a positive on the whole. But as far as like the perception, I think like in work, I do feel sometimes like, oh no, my coworkers are probably perceiving me away. And like some of them do follow me on social media. And like my social media has been a hot topic in my law firm. And I know it is a hot topic. But at the end of the day, it brings me so much joy, not to mention supplemental income, that it's easy to not care at this point.
Yeah.
But when I was certainly starting out, it was like a big secret thing. Like I'm just doing this on the side.
Right.
But now that it's kind of become its own entity and it's brought so much opportunity, such as like this podcast today. And like it's just, I only see it as a positive now. And this is the marketing in the day and age we live in. I mean, what are we going to do? Post on LinkedIn forever? Like that's just not
100%.
where the social media marketing is now.
You have to adapt to what's around you.
It's on TikTok. It's on Reels. It's on podcasts. So
yeah. And was there a point where you decided like, okay, now I'm going to like come out of the shadow? Like now I'm going to like stop being so secretive? Was there like a turning point, or did it just kind of naturally?
Yes. The first time I went on a podcast was the first time I was like, okay, I'm going to tell them at work that I'm going on this podcast. And of course, the interviewer wanted to talk about my content too and lawyering. So I was like, guys, going on this podcast to talk about the firm. And then when the episode dropped, it was like so much more to it, the episode. So it kind of came out of the woodwork that way. And then now I get to do cool things in my office. Like I just started like Bagel Thursday, where different bagel shops around New York sponsor us and give us bagels, and I bring them to the office every Thursday. So now my coworkers are like, we love that you do content, because it like gets us free bagels every Thursday.
That's so funny.
Fun stuff like that. But, yeah.
No, I love that. I want to just go back a little bit onto when you were talking about just kind of like being underestimated as women. I think that we kind of gloss over it in like a lot of our episodes, but I think it's something that's so relevant right now and like so important to talk about, because you made a good point of just almost using it to your advantage, and like how can you use that to kind of motivate you, because it's kind of inevitable. Like you're going to walk in the room and it might not be right in front of you, but you do know it's happening. I actually just spoke to a friend of mine who was told by an academic advisor that they should not wear as much makeup and have their hair up in interviews, because they'll be perceived a certain way if they kind of have their hair blown out and their makeup. And it's been in the back of my brain for the last like couple weeks, because it's crazy that that's what we have to think about going into these rooms. And it's one-sided, because men are not being told the same thing. So, I mean, I guess overall advice or opinions and your thoughts when it comes to that imbalance and kind of how to approach it.
First of all, I hate that happened to your friend, and that actually like makes my stomach churn in the worst way. Yeah, I think there's two sides of the same coin. Like you want to, obviously when you're first starting out too, it's harder because you don't have as many options. Like you have to get that first job out of law school. So it's the unfortunate reality that sometimes you do have to edit yourself down a little bit to get your foot in the door and to establish your career. However, the opposite side of that is no one should have to do that. And ultimately, if someone feels that way in the hiring process, I would never want to work for that person. I would never want to work someone who doesn't take me seriously because I have a blowout. Like what? So like
it's effort actually, if anything. Like
literally. And I show up to my office at like 10 a.m. every day when like other people get there at 9. And it's like, yeah, I'm the only woman in this office, and I'm the only one who has to get up an hour early to do a full glam and blowout. And if I came here without my hair and makeup done, everyone would be like, oh my God, you look so tired. What's wrong?
Yeah.
So like, pick
like
one
one here.
Yeah, you have to pick a lane. So
yeah.
I think it's two sides. I think obviously it's hard, especially when you're starting out, because until you start getting that experience, you don't really have a leg to stand on. And this is just the water that we swim in. But on the other side, if someone would make you feel away or would not take you seriously because of how much makeup or how much makeup you're wearing or what hairstyle you have, that is genuinely not someone you would want to work for anyway, because they're probably awful.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's a terrible idea, but do you find that like your appearance kind of impacts people's perception of your credibility, and like that's like something that you see firsthand?
Yeah. I mean, I think, yes, when I tell people I'm a lawyer, even, it's like the first impression is always like, you're a lawyer? And it's like, I think they don't mean it as an insult, but there's really no other way to take it, because what you're telling me is I don't look like the thing I just worked so hard to become. So
one more time.
And one more time.
100%.
Right.
Like, why are you shocked?
Why are you shocked?
Yeah.
And I think the tide is turning on that, because and you can fact check me on this. I think it was 2 years ago was the first year that first-year associates nationwide in America were more than 50% women than men.
Wow.
So I think the tide is turning, and that what a lawyer looks like is becoming different. Like lawyers look like us. So, because we're lawyers.
Yeah.
So I think your credibility, at the end of the day, your work is going to speak for itself. But on first implicit bias, yes, I do think that people judge women, and I think they judge women who do not fit the traditional serious standard. And that's kind of what my content has evolved to be about, is reminding people that, like, just because you are cool and fun and beautiful and love to go out and have a good time and party with your friends and maybe you do like a cool creative job does not mean you're unprofessional. Like, having a good time and being fun and being professional are not mutually exclusive. Like, they actually are all part of all of us.
Oh, 100%. I think, do you think that there's points where you have to, I hate using this word, but like tone yourself down or like reel it in at any point? Like, that's kind of what I'm going through right now of, as an actor background, sometimes I come off performative or like over the top, but it's my nature. I've done this my whole life. So there's been times where I've been told almost to like reel it in and tone myself down when it comes to like being taken seriously.
Yeah, I think we've all heard that at times. I certainly have. And I think the advice that I would give, honestly, is just ignore it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're being told you're too much, then you're just not in the correct space, the correct room, with the correct people. But to that same point, it's easy to stand here as a 6th-year associate knowing that, like, if anything went awry at my firm, I could hang up my own shingle. Like, you know, it's a different perception. And certainly when I just started, I was less confident in my own self now. Like, I was more toned down myself.
Right.
So I think the advice is, you know, you have to, there's politics to getting started in any career, and especially a male-dominated field like the law.
Yeah.
So
it's strategic at the end of the day.
It's
Like,
strategic
you have
at the
to
end
be
of the
smart
day.
with
You
it.
have to be smart. You have to market yourself how you want to be perceived, and then as soon as you gain your footing, you can be more confident and you can be who you are. And I hope that that changes soon, and that we can just be who we are the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, 100%. So let's dive into kind of the content creation side. So like, I would love to hear about kind of, I know how you started it, but what does that look like now for you? And how do you think like using that platform and using that creative side is actually helping you in like all areas of your life?
Yeah, I think content creation has been the most self-exploration I've ever done. Like, years of therapy cannot equate to 1 year of content creation and putting yourself online to be perceived.
Yeah.
And I think when I first started yapping online, like, first, like I told you, I was making videos that were just like this product or this outfit of the day. And like, I wasn't really connecting to my audience. But once I started like opening up about things I'm feeling, crying on camera, posting it online, talking about my dating life, talking about, you know, very intimate personal things, you lose that layer of caring what people think in a way that has really transformed my life. Like, now I feel that I know myself so intimately, and no hate comment or random troll on the internet can tell me like who I am. But when I really first started, every comment, like if I got a hate comment, like I'm crying, like I'm like, oh my God, everybody hates me. This is so sad. But like, actually now, from going through like the first 2 years of like really putting yourself out there and being perceived, it really it tears down that last level of caring about what people think. And now it's just like, you could take me, you could leave me, but this is just who I am. And that has really changed my life in every single way. Like, that changes how I interact with people I meet. It changes how I show up to work. And that has honestly given me the freedom to be more authentic in the workplace and be more myself at work. And I think it also has really it's really illuminated to me that like, you are the prize in the terms of like, when you're negotiating for something that you're worth at work. It's like, people hire me because they like me. People follow us because they like us. You know what I mean? Like, your personality is what makes you unique, and that is what makes you special. And especially with people like in the legal field, when people are going through sometimes the worst thing in their life, a lawsuit, a litigation, whether it's civil or criminal, it's very stressful. It's anxiety inducing. They would want to hire someone that they feel like they know and that they can trust and that they want to hang out with. They don't want a robot. They don't want someone who's just, you know, all business. Like, how cold is that? They're going through the worst thing in their life. So I think being yourself, and from doing content, I know myself so much more deeply and intimately now in a way that makes me a better lawyer and makes me a better human.
No, 100%. It's funny you say that because I always would say like the best part about me is that I can be a personality hire, but I'm smart. Like you can do both, and you kind of need like I mean I work that I've got to do like while I've been in law school is more kind of on the transactional side, but in the entertainment space. So it's the same thing. People like want someone that they can call and like sit down and yap with, and like they want people to like that understand them and isn't going to be that robot like can recite all black letter law. Like okay, perfect, great. Most people at law school could do that. Or you're gonna be able to get in a room and like have a conversation, and that's like I think something that people don't think about enough. I think, and you can do. I mean, it goes back to your like the moral of this whole podcast episode is like you can do both, and you can be both, and you can be the personality hire and still be the most intelligent person in the room.
Yes, 100,000%. Being the personality hire is such an underrated skill. Actually, like it is a skill to connect with people on that level. So and it's something that you can improve on, which is also like comforting to hear. Like I certainly wasn't always someone who found it easy to talk to a room full of superiors or even equals at a time.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like the practicing of putting yourself out there and connecting with people. It's never wasted effort.
And is there anything from the modeling industry specifically you think that you've like pulled up that has helped you? I know obviously we kind of touched on like the rejection side or like the negative feedback, and I'm sure that has, but is there anything else that sticks out from the modeling industry that's helped you in your career?
Yeah, I think because so much of the modeling industry is like you're showing up and you're working with people for one day and you might not work with them ever again. So it's about like being good at networking, being good at like making connections, because you never know when someone's going to need you. Even in a legal standpoint, they might call you for a call back on a different project they're working on in the modeling space and in acting space. Just growing your network has been so helpful. So yeah, I think it's just opened up a different pool of networking opportunities that other people at my firm aren't tapping into because they're just not in the space.
Yeah, no, 100%. This one's funny because I definitely would say I have an answer to this, but do you approach modeling contracts or like social media agreement, like brand deals differently because of your legal background?
1,000%. I think obviously my skill set as a negotiator and as a lawyer have helped me negotiate better brand deals, higher paid brand deals, better terms. So yeah, I think I'm always the one redlining the contract and sending it back.
Yeah.
For sure. And doing it for my friends too. Like all my friends who, also are in the space sent me there. They're like, do you think this is good? What about this usage term? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. That's hilarious because it's the exact same conversations I have with mine. I'm like, no, we're not agreeing to that.
Correct.
I'm like, you need a lawyer to look at this.
Yeah, actually tell them your lawyer said no.
Yeah. So on that note, I mean, is there any common red flags that you're seeing right now in these like modeling or influencer agreements?
Yes, definitely the perpetual usage in the content creation space. Like that's insane to me. Never agree to perpetual usage. It's just not a good idea.
I was gonna say Command F perpetuity. If you see this in your contract, like
Command F perpetuity every single time immediately. Yes.
And make a sticky note on your computer. Do that every time.
Perpetuity. Yeah. We're not agreeing to perpetuity. And also I would say on payment terms, a lot of these projects are like net 30, net 60, whatever it is. It will have a term for when you're going to get paid, but it doesn't really always have a term for what happens if you don't get paid on time. So I always work in interest as well for late payment more than, 7 days late.
Right.
We were getting interest at 1% per month or whatever it is. So I would say those are like the big two, is like making sure that you're protected if you're not paid on time and that you're protecting your usage rights, because you just never know, if you sign away content rights in perpetuity, you never know how long they're going to use it, when they're going to use it, whether or not you're going to ever be misaligned from that brand in the future. If you're someone in pursuit of fame, it sounds like you are, and I definitely am. And that's just, you cannot be signing away your name, image, likeness for good.
For life. What is your thoughts on when you think friends in the space or like people in the space should maybe like actually get a lawyer to like look at all of their stuff?
Yeah, I think if you're making enough income from social media where you really have to start getting organized with things such as an LLC and a tax professional, and you're negotiating brand deals regularly, it's probably time to start looking into either getting a lawyer or a manager. Yeah. I actually myself just signed with a management. And thank you. And I do already feel like such a burden lifted, not only on the effort side, it's like it takes a lot of time to like negotiate deals all the time, but just to know that like there's a professional handling this and they're like getting a second opinion and a second set of eyes on it is so helpful to know that, like, because it's it's such a hard thing to know what to price it as when you're a content creator, and like
You're like putting a dollar value on like yourself. Like it's
how much
so
do you charge for a
weird.
30-second video? And like, let me just Google that to see what I should charge. Like, you
100%.
can't do it. It doesn't exist. So I
Yeah,
think like
yeah.
transparency in the space is really important too. And having a lawyer, a manager, whoever it is, look at your contracts with you gives you that added level of assurance that, yeah, you're not underselling yourself. You're on the right track here.
Yeah. And then on the modeling side, do you think, I mean, do you have any thoughts on what the modeling industry could improve on to kind of better protect talent legally? I know it's better than it used to be. I know I've heard horror stories and like a couple years even ago where it's just been some scary stuff happens and they're not legally protected. What is your kind of dream goal wish that we could do to better the modeling industry?
Yeah, I think there's been some talks that I've heard about being a modeling content union formed, which would be like collective bargaining of contracts. I don't know that we're going to get there logistically, and I'm just like not up to speed on the news of it all or where it stands. But I do think that there should be greater protections for people. I mean, you even when your contract does provide for like overtime, like I've been on set and it's going over and I'm like, okay, you guys, now we're overtime. So just so you know, for the next hour, we have a different rate. And then they're like, oh, well, let's wrap it up then. Like, you know what I mean? Like they were never going to pay you the overtime. So it's just things like that. And it's hard because not everybody is trained in conflict. I mean, that's what lawyers are trained in. We're trained in conflict resolution, whether it's, you know, through litigation or transactional work. You're bringing people who are adverse together. So it's easy for us to say, these are the terms of my agreement and my overtime rate is kicking in, but not everybody has that. So I think if there was some type of union or like representative on set to like be the objective third person, like almost like HR on set to be like,
well, we do it for acting. Like we're all a part of the union. Like even non-union role, like there's non-union like criteria they have to meet. Like it's so funny to me that after this many years and how popular modeling has become and like everything we do, how it's not been regulated more.
I know, it is interesting. I know. I hope something comes.
I know. It should. It really should. I think it's overdue, and I think too many people have been taking advantage of in the industry for it not to at this point. So one can only
hope.
I would love to talk kind of about you specifically, and like this is maybe selfishly, I'm like going a little off script here, but I'm like, how do you manage it all? Because I know people ask me that all the time, especially when it's like a busy season or like pilot auditions all the time, or I'm on set for like a month. How do you kind of go about being a full-time lawyer while still, oh, I got to be on set for this shoot, or like, oh, there's a casting call that they have called me to. How do you prioritize, organize, plan, get through it all?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's crazy. I'm definitely not sleeping that much. That's point number one. So I'm not saying that this is healthy, but this is just how I cope. I think the big things have been realizing that you do not have to say yes to every job that comes your way, every opportunity that comes your way. So for me, I'm not taking every single brand deal that comes into my inbox. I just don't have the time for it. I'm not going to every single event that comes in. I don't have the time for it. And in the lawyer side, I have really let go of the goal of being the number one associate at my firm, just transparently. Like, am I getting my work done? Yes. Am I doing good work? Yes. Am I staying in good graces? Yes. Am I crushing my billable hour goal every month? No. Sorry to my bosses. It's just like I don't have it in me. Like I'm doing my best, you guys. So it's just letting go of being the best at everything and just knowing that you're doing your best at everything that makes you happy. So I think for me, it's just prioritizing, doing the minimum of the maximum where you can. So it's like, this is the least amount that I can do where I feel satisfied and proud of myself, but I'm not getting burnt out. So that's kind of where I operate on my lawyer side. And then with balancing it all in like one day, I really have to be in like monotask mode when I'm doing certain things. Like when I'm at my office, I cannot be worried about like, oh my God, I have to respond to this email, or I have to do this brand deal, or I have to shoot this.
Compartmentalize, like for sure.
Compartmentalize your ass off. Like multitasking, a lie. It doesn't exist.
No.
The cognitive task switching is going to cost you more productivity than just locking in for a few hours and then locking into something else for a few hours. So that's like the more tangible advice I would say is like when you're in one zone, stay in that zone. And 2 hours of unadulterated productivity is better than 6 hours of going back and forth and picking it back up and putting it down. Like just lock in for a shorter amount.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you, with social media side, are you like, I know that it's so funny because social media side is, I feel like the hardest one to do because sometimes there's no structure, right? Like you pick your posting schedule, you pick what content you're doing. It's different when there's like stuff you need to do like for work and you have like stuff that needs to get out the door on certain dates or like for like auditions or casting calls that are on specific days. Perfect. I can put that into a schedule. But then when it comes to like content, that's on you. So how have you kind of structured it, or like how do you operate to be able to kind of stay on top of yourself while not being kind of overwhelmed with the content side?
I think it is really hard because you have to manage yourself. But what I have found to be a great joy is that my content is just what I'm doing in my day. So for me, like if I'm filming a video that's day in my life as a lawyer, model, content creator, it's just what I'm already doing that day. And I'm just taking little clips throughout my day. And then I'll edit it at night or on the weekends or like whenever I can squeeze it in. It's the editing of it all. But I think reminding that yourself that everything you're doing is content when your content is about your life. So if I'm going out with my friends, and it also helps to have friends who are in the content space too. Like I have now, I go out with my friends and we'll batch some videos together and we'll like take pictures of each other. And when you go to events, you always get pictures. So it's having a lot of content in the bank, but it takes a long time to get to that point where you're like, this is a muscle for me. And because I've exercised the muscle of taking content every day and posting content every day, now I have so much content in the bank to fall back on when the days where I'm just not feeling it at all hit. I have things to fall back on.
For sure. No, 100%. I feel like that's, I mean, for podcasts especially, like I'll batch record. Like if it's like, I'm similar in the sense of like, I try to give myself a day. If I don't have class on like today is a holiday, perfect. I don't have class, I don't have work. I'm just going to do as much podcasting stuff as I can and try to compartmentalize like that. So I think that's, I mean, it's the truth. You have to, there's a way to be able to, I feel like, keep it real and like post like authentic, like day of my lives. But there's also times where it's like, to be realistic, I need to have the days off. So if I'm going to put content out, it's going to be from last week or whatever.
1,000%. And let me just say, like, it is so respectable that you're doing this podcast and your content and you're acting during law school. Like, I don't know that I could have done all of this during school.
Yeah.
Like, I do it now that I'm like, I have a full-time job because it's like, okay, it's just my job. But law school is such a huge undertaking that people do not realize that it has to be your whole life for that time. So like literally hats off to you for doing all that. Like it's very impressive.
I think I think why I'm able to do it is because I've always done it. Like I've been an actor since I was like 10. So I think because I've always been so used to like high school, undergrad, now law school, like I've just had to manage it. It's like, and I'm very, very lucky that my school is like the best ever at accommodating it. So if it's like, okay, I gotta like, I missed the whole month of September. I was on set for a movie. They're like, we'll just zoom in. I'm like, perfect.
Period.
Like I'm like, I've managed it, but yeah, I don't know.
That's
Everyone's like, how do you do it? I'm like, how am I doing it? Good question. And also prior to like bar prep, I'm like signing off, like no auditions during bar prep. Like that's like foot down, can't do it. But on other times when I know like, oh, it's like September, I knew it's still like most of that's like intro syllabus stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out.
And I think that's like what you're doing is so important. And what you just said is important because it reminds people that we didn't magically wake up one day and was like, I think I'm going to have 5 jobs and it's just going to all work out. Like we did not know this was going to work out. It only works out because we're just making it happen and we don't know how tomorrow's going to work out sometimes, but it just always does. So if you're someone who feels like you want to really lock into a different pursuit or like supplement your corporate job with a creative job, just start. Like you don't
100%.
know what it's going to look like and you don't have to know what it's going to look like before you start and you're not going to know until you do.
Yeah. I mean, this podcast, it's gone through this our 4th season. So we've kind of done 4 rebrands. We just keep trying new things until it sticks. And to say that we're on a perfect process right now, we're not, but we're figuring it out. And it's exactly what you said. You just have to try it. And if it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work. Move on.
Yeah, and most people never even try. So like congrats on the fail.
Yeah. Seriously. No, really. I mean, you are, again, like perfect person for this, but how do you describe yourself as kind of redefining that have it all? Like what does that phrase kind of mean to you personally?
Yeah, to me personally, it feels like self-alignment. Like having it all means that your life looks how you dreamed about it in your childhood bedroom. So when you put yourself back in time in your childhood bedroom, when you're fantasizing about, your life in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, what did it look like and how did it feel? And, when you picture, you can even do this now, like if you can't remember. And I talk about this a lot actually in my newsletter Gloss Briefing, which is coming up with the idea of your glossed self. And they're basically you, but they're like hot and better and have a cool job and they live in your dream city and they do everything that you wish you were doing. They have everything that you could think of that you want. They already have it. And then kind of just figuring out what are the differences in her life and my life? So maybe, you know, like to put it in your world, I want to be an actor. Of course, tomorrow you're not going to wake up and be in a movie if you've never done acting.
Right.
But what would a day in my life look like if I was an actor? Well, I might have a headshot appointment in the afternoon, and I might be submitting self-tapes in the evening, and I might be meeting up with like other people in my sphere or taking an acting class to stay on top of my skills. Okay, well, you could book an acting class and you could apply for some things on Backstage, and you could just go get new headshots and just start.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of that like alignment with what your life, what you want your life to look like, and letting go of like what it's supposed to look like and shifting to what you actually want it to look like.
Because what is it supposed to look like? Who made those rules? Who set that standard? Like
who? Because literally like when I was living in the suburbs, settled down, had a nice job, had a stable, loving relationship with someone I respected, I almost was bored to death. Like I'm not even kidding when I tell you like every day I went to work for 8 hours as an attorney. I went to the gym. I came home. I cooked dinner. I went to sleep. And I was like losing my mind.
Yeah.
And people were like, Alyssa, you're crazy. You have everything. You have such a great life. But who said that that's what a great life looks like?
Yeah.
Not me.
100%. And I think especially when like you've like, I keep saying like we've known each other for like you've never, but like when you've known for your whole life that like you never were that stereotypical whatever, right? Like I was never that stereotypical high schooler. I was never that stereotypical like business student. Like I always was like, I'm doing other stuff or I have this to do. Why would you think that the rest of your life is supposed to be that cookie cutter example of like society's normal, right? Like
that is such a good point. Yes. And it's like also how many people probably felt that way growing up, like, oh, I would love to do that, but then they just get off the path and they never get back on it. So it really does take a lot of going against the grain to
100%.
get yourself back on track and back into alignment with like what you actually want, but it's worth it every time.
Yeah. It's just like and I feel like the biggest deterrence is like the fear of failure.
Yes.
Like people are being like, I'm scared. What happens if I fail? What happens if I don't do that, like follow that structured path? And it's so sad because, and I always say I'd rather fail 100 times than regret one thing. Like I don't want to go look back and say, you looking back being like, I should have moved to New York one day. Like if you never, you're like, don't even.
Like if I never moved to New York, I don't even know like what my life would look like. Like it gives me chills thinking about it because it's like dark. But like,
someone's out there making that decision and didn't move, right? Like someone out there sitting there being like, I'm not doing it. I'm not taking that job. Like
1,000%.
Do it.
Just do it. And I feel like we all have that one thing, right? It's a thing that like taps you on the back of your shoulder at every turn of your life. You're like, what about this? What about when you said you were going to do this? Like for me, that was really the content creation in the New York of it all. Like I remember during like 2020, 2021, where I was past the bar exam and I was consuming a lot of content, and this was like golden time for TikTok. And I remember feeling like a pang of like both admiration and maybe a little jealousy. Like every time I saw these like content creators popping up and sharing their cool lives, and they're like doing these cool modeling jobs, and their days just look so different from mine. Yeah. And I remember feeling like not jealousy in that like I want to be them, but like jealousy in that they had the audacity to do this, and I wish I did, but I don't. So I think it's like whatever that thing is for you that every time you try to outrun it, it's right there waiting for you.
Do it.
Yeah, stop ignoring it. It's not going to go away. It's not going away, babe.
Yeah. I want to talk about gloss briefing, and like I want to know what it is, why it started, kind of like what it looks like today, how it developed. I'll let you take it away, but I'm so curious about this because I need to read every single newsletter now.
You're going to love it, actually.
I know. I'm like, should I look it up?
Yeah. So gloss briefing is your gloss briefing is your weekly Monday morning memo. It hits your inbox every Monday at 8 a.m. and it's set up like a legal briefing. So it has an opening statement, exhibits, a docket, a testimony, and a closing argument. And it's just all about redefining what your life looks like. So basically like the first 4 or 5 of them read kind of like a workbook with meeting your gloss self, identifying the gaps between you and her, and then shifting your behavior and your habits to more align with hers until you're basically becoming her. So it's kind of like a little self-help, but in terms of getting to know who you really are if you could be who you want to be. So yeah, it's fun. It's legal coded. Like all of them have like cool names. Like the last one was like decision velocity, which is like the faster that you make decisions, the better your life will be because you don't stay in that decision paralysis. You're just making decisions quicker and you're like trusting your instincts and your intuition. Or like I've done like voir dire, which is who's on your jury, like stacking your friend group, stacking your surroundings with people who are worth it and like worthy and who are also doing cool, fun things and like feeding your soul and your life.
Oh my God. That one is like, I love that. Because that's like a big thing that we try to talk about a lot, but who you're surrounding yourself with is so important. If you hear all negative voices, no wonder you're gonna have some self-doubt there. Like if you're surrounded by people that are, what is it? Your network is your network is your net worth?
Your network is your net worth. Yes. And I always say this too, is like if you are the most successful person in your friend group or you're the most successful person that you're hanging out with,
You're doing it wrong.
Wrong room. Like you should be friends with people that you're like, whoa, like you're like amazing. Like you should feel about your friends like I am literally enamored and obsessed with you. And if you do not feel that way about your friend group, like you've got to switch it up and like get some inspiration going.
100%. So what were the kind of like the main conversations you were trying to kind of create through this newsletter? Like what did you want to be talked about? What did you ideally make it first? Because you wanted something like this. Kind of where did that develop from?
It really developed from the story that like we've been talking about, which is my life didn't feel good.
Yeah.
It looked fine on paper. It was objectively fine, but it didn't feel exciting, invigorating, electric. And how do we get from a life that is just fine on paper to a life that feels good?
Right.
So that was kind of like the motivation behind the whole newsletter. And I think like the conversation I wanted to start for people, whether it's interpersonal or just for people to ponder in themselves, is who am I? Like sometimes it's hard to know who you are and who you've just told yourself and been told that you are.
Yeah.
And I think like there's a separation between your career and who you are. And I think for me, a large part of being a lawyer was like, I'm getting some type of validation by saying I'm a lawyer and by practicing law, but achievement is not fulfilling at a soul level.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about like asking yourself, like, who am I? What is important to me? And for me, I think what I've learned is the storytelling of it all. Like the through line between everything I do is like connecting with people and connecting with people, talking, sharing stories and sharing emotional connection, whether it's a legal argument and I'm drafting a memo and I'm conveying a message to a judge or a jury, or I'm modeling and I'm communicating a brand's messaging through my posing or the styling, or it's content creation where I'm connecting with my audience by being vulnerable and telling them like, I had a tough day today, or this is what I'm doing today, or, we're just talking, we're just being girls. That is the through line between everything. So at the end of the day, by kind of having these discussions with myself and figuring out who I am, I realized like, I'm not going to be fulfilled unless I'm in a communicative field.
Yeah.
And and if I've never like done the self-exploration, if I was still just a lawyer living in the suburbs, like I would actually hate my life, I think.
Yeah. No, 100. I think, and that's like an idea that I think will also change over time. Like I think that idea of like, this is my like main accomplishment or main goal to accomplish. You're gonna accomplish it. And then you're gonna have to create a new one. And then it's gonna change. And then it's gonna alter. And then all of a sudden you're gonna realize there's this new opportunity and like that's my new goal now. And I think that's normal to do that shift and do that change. Like and like you're saying, in different areas of your life and your different paths, there's gonna be different goals and that's okay. Like,
yes, I agree with everything you're saying. And it's so important too to realize that just because you are type A by nature, if you're born type A, does that mean you have to stay type A? Like, honestly, the best thing I've ever done is become type B.
yeah.
So I suggest to everybody, if you are a quintessential eldest daughter who's a high achiever.
We're the same. This is
literally. No, literally. Like, if that is you, you are shouldering way too much pressure on yourself because of your self-imposed timelines, ideas, and schedule. And when you let go of your grandiose 50-year plan, you are going to open yourself up to so many impromptu blessings and opportunities that you are otherwise shut off from because you have a white knuckle around your life plan.
Yeah.
And you're 25 years old. Like, let's just be so for real. You do not know anything in your 20s. Like, I'm 30 now, so like I'm coming from a sage 30-year-old, but like
yes, your frontal lobe is now developed. I'm still developing.
Literally, who are you? Like, you don't even know. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way. And like, obviously, to your point, you're always changing, you're always evolving. And it's so important to be open to life's rebrands. Like, I might be different in 5 years than I am today, or 1 year even. Like, my life 1 calendar year ago, unrecognizable.
Right.
But Why do we feel like we have to plan the next 50 years of our lives with such certainty when we do not even know what we want to do next year?
Yeah.
Like, how could you know? I don't know my future self, so how do I know what she's going to want?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, we're exact examples of this. Like, you asked me when I went into my undergrad, I didn't, law school? No. Like, it wasn't even in my radar.
Were you a BFA? Like,
No, I did business. My Bachelor of Business was my undergrad, and I didn't even think about law school until the year I applied. And I
Yeah.
literally like wrote the LSAT, applied the next month, and was like, if I get in, I get in. And it just like, and then I got in, and I was like, wait, I love it here. But like, had no idea. Like, I also was like, I just want to go to New York, so I'm just gonna apply to New York schools and like see what happens. Or I knew I wanted to do entertainment, so like a couple in New York, a couple in California, and I'm like, let's see. And then it just like all of a sudden, like everything chips started to fall, and it was all aligned perfectly. And yeah, now
And
I
aren't
can't
those
imagine
the-
my life differently.
and aren't those the best things like that
Oh, yeah.
happen? They catch you by surprise and you're like, oh my God, now I'm doing this cool thing.
Yeah, which is crazy because I'm totally what you're explaining. Like, I had that grasp on like, this is my plan. Like, I am going to do this. And then all of a sudden you don't, and things change, and it's better than whatever I imagined 5 years ago. So you got to sometimes just like loosen your grip a little.
Exactly
It's okay
that.
to have goals, but there's also like, you have to have room for those opportunities, or like when they come, you won't even be able to see them because you're so set on this path that might not even be meant for you. So
That is literally last week's gloss briefing memo was Ferreone versus an over-engineered life. Like, stop over-engineering your life. Stop cutting yourself off to surprise. Like,
Yeah.
surprise is important in life.
100%. So on that note, then how do you personally define success for yourself?
I think true success is just doing exactly what you want to do and knowing that you're the one in control of your life. And I think like a lot of this comes to with like the decentering of other people. And I don't say this in a way that you have to isolate yourself from all fulfilling relationships in your life.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I felt growing up, I think maybe because like my parents are high school sweethearts. Like, I don't know why. I just like always had such a big emphasis on dating in my life growing up.
Right.
Like, I was someone who was always in a relationship, and I always was like in pursuit of my life partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the last period of time, I've been really decentered from that. And I'm like, wow, all of these things I might not have done if I was still dating someone, because I'm someone who I want to make decisions as a team, and I'm, you know, maybe a little codependent in nature, where I'm like, I'm factoring this person's emotions and plans and thoughts in what I'm doing. And like, certainly in that very long relationship I was in throughout college and law school, I felt like on the content creation side, like that person was an introvert, and like, no shade, everybody is who there is. And I still feel, you know, great respect for this person. But there was definitely an aspect of, oh, I'm not doing content creation, and it's probably only because you would think that's cringe.
Yeah.
So like, so much of yourself is edited to impress the people that you love,
Yeah.
which is not always a negative.
Yeah.
But it can be a negative if you're kind of not doing what you want to do. So I think the success, rounding out the question and landing the plane on this long answer, is that if you're making decisions and you feel like, I'm driving this boat and I'm the captain of my life,
Yeah.
that's success. Like, to feel that you're in control.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think just because, and they can have the best intentions, but if you feel restricted by the people around you, and not even like it could be like friendships. Like, if you feel like, and this is a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but like sometimes parental relationships can feel like you're being restricted. Like, that's where you have to, I think, sometimes take a step back and be that captain and like make the decisions for yourself. Guidance is okay, but only if it's like kind of aligning with your passions and goals. So amazing. I love that. So just kind of to wrap up the episode and ask a couple like advice takeaways. I think you've been through so much and have such like, interesting, but so important advice and experiences, because I feel like, especially as a woman in law and any field, feeling like they have to make a decision to follow a path or make a decision based on what society is telling them they need to make. You have now ventured away from it and have this successful life. So I think we'll go through, but first, advice you'd have for law students. We'll start there, who maybe feel like they don't fit into that traditional law student mold, or feeling like they are following a path that doesn't necessarily suit them. What advice would you give to them?
The advice I would give is, if you feel that you are not fitting a mold, there's probably a reason. It's probably because you're a little better than the mold. Like, just know that if you're feeling that you don't fit in, it's probably because you're trying to cram yourself into a smaller space or a smaller capacity, and you're probably meant for something different and obviously better
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day. So I would say if you're not fitting into whatever mold you're trying to squeeze yourself into, stop and just realize that it's probably too small for you.
I love that. And then on a similar note, what advice would you give to women who are currently trying to pursue this multiple passion life?
Yeah, I would say just start. If you feel that you have a creative pursuit that you want to add in addition to your corporate life or your professional goal, just start. You owe it to yourself to give every version of yourself airtime. And, you know, we have to, as women, really start normalizing that our creative pursuits are serious. They are just as serious. It's just as serious to try to be an actor or a model or a content creator as it is to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that some professions have this connotation of like extra credibility or professionalism because they're traditionally male-dominated fields needs to go away, I think, personally. So as women, like we do owe it to ourselves and to each other to like really go after the fields that are female dominated. I think this is so interesting about content creation specifically is that it's taken not seriously I think it's getting a lot better, but for a long time it's like, oh my God, these influencers. These women who are the huge influencers with millions of followers are marketing geniuses.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why is the one avenue for women to build their own brands and make money, which is social media, and it's the one female dominated space, is the one that we don't take seriously.
100%.
Actually insane.
Yeah.
Actually insane to me.
Yeah.
So we owe it to ourselves to explore our creative passions and to like take them seriously, and don't let people tell you that your creative pursuits are less important than your professional pursuits.
I love that. And then lastly, for the advice, someone who's specifically looking to get into a similar legal field. So if they want to do litigation or they're maybe trying to decide between the two, do you have any advice or what your thoughts kind of were on why you chose that?
Yes, I always knew I wanted to be a litigator, but I think if you don't know, a good thing to do in law school and undergrad even is internships, externships. You can't know until you get involved. So when I was in undergrad, I interned for the state's attorney's office. I interned for a public defender's office, and because I thought I might want to, do prosecution or do, public defense.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty soon found out like criminal was too heavy for me. It's not for me. I don't think I would like it. So, but the only way to know that is to try.
Yeah.
And I think also sometimes it's just what we were talking about, like having a white grip on your path sometimes leads to just trying to force yourself to be in a box where you could have just let life happen to you and you would have found an avenue. So I think if you're someone by nature who enjoys storytelling and acting, performing, like court is just one big beauty pageant at the end of the day. So if you're someone who enjoys that, you'll probably like litigating. If you're someone who's more analytical and you like are more of a behind the scenes person, you might like transactional law better. So, but again, there's no way to tell until you try. So try everything and see what sticks.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love that. And then for you personally, Alyssa, what is next for you?
Okay, so next for me, I'm manifesting something on your podcast. So if I don't end up finalizing this, cut it out and like spare me the embarrassment.
No, but you have it's coming. We know it's gonna happen.
It's coming and we're manifesting it.
Yeah.
So up next for me will be lawyering on a TV show. I'm super excited about this opportunity I have. I'm manifesting it. And even if I don't book this specific gig, I do think what's next for me is like TV, whether it's like getting back to my initial goal, which was to be an anchorwoman, whether it's to be like a legal correspondent, getting more into like broadcast journalism, something more back into like the media mainstream. And then aside from always being open to new opportunities, what's next for me is just continuing to do everything. I'm lawyering, I'm modeling, I'm making content on my socials, writing my newsletter, and just being open to whatever life has next for me. Who knows?
I love it. And our viewers know we always end the podcast the exact same way. If you were to send yourself a text message 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever timeline, one like piece of advice, what are you telling your past self?
Wait, I'm obsessed with it.
We never tell anyone. Like we never send
like
this
that,
question
just, like-
for people because we like to, you got to be on your toes here.
If I could send myself from 10 years ago one text message, what would it say?
Yeah.
You already know what you're supposed to do. Just do it.
I love it.
Like, just do. You already know.
Get rid of the doubt. Just do it.
Just do what you already know. Do it.
I love it. So if you're right now in those shoes, this is your sign.
This is your sign.
Just do
you
it.
already know what to do.
Oh yeah. I love it. Well, honestly, thank you so much, Liz. This was like I know I say this, no, but genuinely this was one of my favorite episodes because I just see what I'm doing in you. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna work out. It's fine. It's fine. It's life's gonna
Katie,
keep
no,
going.
this was so fun. It's so nice to connect with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. We're going to link all of your Instagram, socials, everything. You'll see it all linked down below. You guys know the drill. We're also 100% going to be sharing the gloss briefings every week because this is like, I need to be on this. Like, I need to be signed up for the email thread. So
I'm so excited.
we'll be on it. Anyways, you guys know the drill. Follow us on all of our socials. We post every other Monday. Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify. You know the drill. Yeah, we'll see you guys next Monday. But stay sharp, stay stylish, and stay legal. Thanks, guys.